Konnichiwa minasan. Welcome to my channel, Eric's Nihongo Lessons. In this lesson, we will study the conjugation ZU and its combinations with the auxiliary verbs sumu, iru, and oku. Yoroshii desu ka? Hajimemashou. In lesson 92, we talked about the negative te form naide. Consider this sentence construction. Without doing action 1, I will do action 2. Action 1 is usually expressed by the conjugation naide. However, this can also be substituted by the conjugation ZU. First, let's review how to form the ZU conjugation. In a nutshell, ZU is formed from the plain simple negative or nai form of the verb. Simply replace nai in the nai form with ZU. For example, taberu, to eat, to tabenai, will not eat, to tabezuni, without eating. Yomu, to read, turns to yomanai, will not read, to yomazuni, without reading. However, the irregular verb suru is special. From suru, will do, to shinai, will not do, to sezuni, without doing. Now let's look at 3 example sentences. For example, the sentence, he passed without even especially studying the Level 1 Japanese language proficiency test. Without studying. To study is benkyou suru, and this conjugates to benkyou sezuni. In Japanese, the whole sentence, 彼は特に勉強もせずに日本語能力試験1級に合格した。彼は特に勉強もせずに日本語能力試験1級に合格した。Next example, eating without washing your hands is unsanitary. Without washing. To wash is arau. Negative, arawanai. Without washing, arawazuni. The whole sense in Japanese, 手を洗わずに食事をするのは不衛生です。手を洗わずに食事をするのは不衛生です。We use the particle no to nominalize the subject. Now, to review how to nominalize verb clauses with no or koto, please watch lesson 44. Our third example, typically in a Japanese house, you're not allowed to come in without removing your shoes. Without removing. To remove or take off is nugu. Negative, nuganai. Without taking off is nugazuni. 一般に日本の家では靴を脱がずに上がってはいけません。一般に日本の家では靴を脱がずに上がってはいけません。The てはいけない conjugation denotes prohibition, and you can review this conjugation in lesson 38. The heart of today's lesson is when ZU combines with these 3 auxiliary verbs. Sumu by itself means to end or be settled. Iru by itself means to exist for people and animals. And we also use this as the auxiliary verb of the te form of verbs to express the progressive tense or ongoing actions. Teiru, which we looked at closely in lesson 33. Oku by itself means to put or to place. As an auxiliary verb of the te form of verbs, it means to do something in advance. Te oku. We studied this conjugation in lesson 90. ZU combines with both the affirmative and negative of these auxiliary verbs, and in the case of sumu, we have these conjugations. ZU NI SUMU, and for the negative, ZU NIWA SUMANAI. When a conjugation is negative, Japanese often uses the particle wa, hence we have ZU NIWA SUMANAI. For iru, the conjugations are ZU NI IRU and ZU NIWA IRARENAI. IRARENAI is the negative ability shortcut conjugation of INAI. For OKU, the two conjugations are ZU NI OKU and ZU NIWA OKANAI. Note that these auxiliary verbs can be conjugated into the many verb tenses and modalities that we've already learned in the past. Now we will look at each one separately to see what each of them means and how to use them. Let's start with ZU NI SUMU. ZU NI means without doing, and SUMU means to be settled. To be settled without doing. In other words, to get by without doing, or be okay without doing. Now this is similar to the conjugation nakute mo ii, meaning you don't have to do, which we learned back in lesson 52. Now for the negative. ZU NIWA SUMANAI. ZU NI again means without doing, and SUMANAI means won't be settled. So without doing, it won't be settled. So in other words, it is necessary to do, or one must do. This is similar to the conjugation must, which we learned back in lesson 63. Now let's look at example sentences, starting with ZU NI SUMU. Because I ate a lot for breakfast, I did not have to eat lunch. Did not have to eat. To eat is taberu. Negative, tabenai. Without eating, tabezu ni. The whole sentence in Japanese, asa gohan o takusan tabeta kara, hiru gohan wo tabezu ni sunda. Asa gohan o takusan tabeta kara, hiru gohan wo tabezu ni sunda. Because I ate a lot for breakfast, I did not have to eat lunch. Next example. Because I have savings, I don't have to borrow money from the bank to buy a house. Don't have to borrow. To borrow is kariru. Negative, karinai. Without borrowing, karizu ni. And the whole sense in Japanese, chokin ga aru kara, ie o kao tame ni ginkou kara okane o karizu ni sumu. Chokin ga aru kara, ie o kao tame ni ginkou kara okane o karizu ni sumu. Because I have savings, I don't have to borrow money from the bank to buy a house. Now, the pseudo noun tame ni denotes purpose, and you can review this conjugation in lesson 67. If you have an all-you-can-ride pass, you don't have to buy a ticket each time. Don't have to buy. To buy is kau. Negative, kawanai. Without buying, kawazu ni. And the sentence in Japanese, norihodai no pass ga aru to, maikai kippu o kawazu ni sumu. Norihodai no pass ga aru to, maikai kippu o kawazu ni sumu. If you have an all-you-can-ride pass, you don't have to buy a ticket each time. Now, the to after the verb aru, forming aru to, denotes if or when, and you can review this conditional conjugation in lesson 62b. Now let's look at examples for ZU NIWA SUMANAI, which means necessary to do or must do. Because it's necessary for my studies, I need to buy the textbook. Need to buy. We use the same verb, kau, to buy, and that turns to kawanai and kawazu ni. Translation, 勉強に必要ですから教科書を買わずには済まない。勉強に必要ですから教科書を買わずには済まない。Because it's necessary for my studies, I need to buy the textbook. If it becomes a habit to exercise every day, it gets to be that one must exercise every day. Must exercise. To exercise is undo suru, and we'll be conjugating suru. Negative is undo shinai, and without exercising is undo sezu ni. And in Japanese, 毎日運動する習慣がついてくると運動せずには済まなくなる。 毎日運動する習慣がついてくると、運動せずには済まなくなる。If it becomes a habit to exercise every day, it gets to be that one must exercise every day. Now, the なくなる conjugation here means no longer do, and you can review this conjugation in lesson 72. Because tomorrow is garbage day, I must take out the garbage tonight. Must take out. To take out is 出す. Negative 出さない. Without taking out 出さずに. And in Japanese, the whole sentence, 明日はゴミの日だから今夜ゴミを出さずには済まない。明日はゴミの日だから今夜ゴミを出さずには済まない。Because tomorrow is garbage day, I must take out the garbage tonight. Next auxiliary verb is iru, to exist. The affirmative is ZU NI IRU. ZU NI means without doing, and IRU means to exist. To exist without doing. In other words, to keep not doing. And this has some similarity to the negative progressive tense teinai, which we studied in lesson 33. The negative is ZU NIWA IRARENAI. Again, ZU NI means without doing, and IRARENAI means cannot exist or cannot be myself. Without doing, I cannot be myself. And so in other words, I can't help but do. Now let's look at some example sentences starting with ZU NI IRU. If you stop eating rice for a week, your blood sugar level will surely go down. Stop eating or not be eating. To eat, 食べる, 食べない, 食べずに. In Japanese, the whole sentence, 1週間ぐらい白ご飯を食べずにいれば血糖値が下がるに違いありません。1週間ぐらい白ご飯を食べずにいれば血糖値が下がるに違いありません。If you stop eating rice for a week, your blood sugar level will surely go down. Now, the ba conjugation here is also a conditional conjugation, which you can review in lesson 62D. And ni chigai arimasen expresses high certainty, a conjugation you can review in lesson 74. If you keep on not saving money, it'll be that you must keep on working even if you're old. Keep on not saving. To save money is chokin suru. Negative, chokin shinai. Without saving money, chokin sezu ni. In Japanese, the whole sentence, 貯金もせずにいると、年をとっても働き続けなくてはならなくなるよ。貯金もせずにいると、年をとっても働き続けなくてはならなくなるよ。If you keep on not saving money, it'll be that you must keep on working even if you're old. Now, the conjugation なくてはならない is one of the ways to say must in Japanese, and you can review the must conjugation in lesson 63. If one doesn't stop smoking, I heard one gets cancer easily. Doesn't stop. To stop is やめる. Negative, やめない. Without stopping, やめずに. Translation, タバコをやめずにいると、がんになりやすいそうだよ。タバコをやめずにいると、がんになりやすいそうだよ。If one doesn't stop smoking, I heard one gets cancer easily. Now, so indicates hearsay, and you can review how to make hearsay sentences in lesson 87. And now to the negative conjugation, ZU NIWA IRARENAI, which means I can't help but do. When I go to Japan, I can't help but buy electronics at Akihabara. Akihabara is the electronics district in Tokyo. To buy is kau. Negative, kawanai. Without buying, kawazu ni. Translation, 日本に行くと秋葉原で電気製品を買わずにはいられません。日本に行くと秋葉原で電気製品を買わずにはいられません。When I go to Japan, I can't help but buy electronics at Akihabara. Next example. That TV drama story is so interesting, I can't help but watch it every day. Can't help but watch. To watch is miru. Negative, minai. Without watching, mizu ni. In Japanese, そのテレビドラマのストーリーが面白くて毎日見ずにはいられない。そのテレビドラマのストーリーが面白くて毎日見ずにはいられない。That TV drama story is so interesting, I can't help but watch it every day. Next sentence. My wife's cooking is delicious and I just can't help eating a lot. Again, to eat, 食べる。食べない、食べずに。The whole sentence in Japanese. 家内の料理が美味しくてついたくさん食べずにはいられない。家内の料理が美味しくてついたくさん食べずにはいられない。My wife's cooking is delicious and I just can't help eating a lot. The last auxiliary verb is oku, which means to do in advance. The affirmative with ZU NI is ZU NI OKU. And again, ZU NI means without doing, and oku means to do in advance. In other words, to not do for now. For the negative, we have ZU NIWA OKANAI. Again, ZU NI means without doing, and OKANAI means won't do in advance. Without doing is something I won't do in advance. In other words, I'll do it anyway, or I'll surely do it. This is similar to the for sure conjugation ni chigainai, which we learned back in lesson 74 on probability. Now let's take a look at examples for ZU NI OKU first. First example, Dad is still angry, so it's better not to talk to him for now. Not to talk for now. To talk to a person is hanashi kakeru. Negative, hanashi kakenai. Without talking, hanashi kakezu ni. In Japanese, the sentence, お父さんはまだ怒っているので話しかけずにおいた方がいい。お父さんはまだ怒っているので話しかけずにおいた方がいい。Dad is still angry, so it's better not to talk to him for now. The た方がいい conjugation denotes advice, and you can review this conjugation in lesson 56. Next example, because Santa Claus is still coming, let's not sleep yet. Do not sleep yet. To sleep is neru, negative, nenai. Without sleeping, nezu ni. In Japanese, Santa san ga mada kuru kara nezu ni okimashou. Santa san ga mada kuru kara nezu ni okimashou. Because Santa is still coming, let's not sleep yet. The mashou conjugation indicates volitions, and you can review this conjugation in lesson 34. Next example, I won't leave the house while the pandemic is on. Won't leave while. To leave is deru, negative, denai. Without leaving, dezu ni. Translation in Japanese, パンデミックが続いている間は家を出ずにおこう。パンデミックが続いている間は家を出ずにおこう。I won't leave the house while the pandemic is on. The pseudo-noun aida indicates while, and you can review this conjugation in lesson 60. Now to the negative version, ZU NIWA OKANAI, which means will do anyway or will surely do. First example, even if it's not delicious, if you're hungry, you can't help but eat it. Can't help but eat. And again, to eat, 食べる、食べない、食べずに without eating. In Japanese, たとえ美味しくなくてもお腹が減ったら食べずにはおけないものだ。たとえ美味しくなくてもお腹が減ったら食べずにはおけないものだ。Even if it's not delicious, if you're hungry, you can't help but eat it. Now, we've conjugated okanai into shortcut ability. Okenai. 食べずにはおけない. Can't help but eat. Shortcut ability conjugation can be reviewed in lesson 57. The temo conjugation here indicates even if, and you can review this conjugation in lesson 50. And mono here is a pseudonoun or particle that indicates conviction, which we will feature in the next lesson. The book was so interesting, I couldn't stop reading it. Couldn't stop reading. To read is yomu, negative yomanai. Without reading, yomazu ni. In Japanese, the whole sentence, この小説は読まずにはおけないほど面白かったです。この小説は読まずにはおけないほど面白かったです。The book was so interesting, I couldn't stop reading it. The pseudo-noun hodo indicates extent, and you can review this in lesson 84. Last example, she's so hard-headed that even if she's told don't go, she'll go anyway. Go anyway. To go is iku. Negative, ikanai. And ikazuni means without going. And the sentence in Japanese, 彼女は行くなと言われても行かずにはおけないほど頑固です。彼女は行くなと言われても行かずにはおけないほど頑固です。She's so hard-headed that even if she's told don't go, she'll go anyway. Now, dictionary form of the verb plus na makes a conjugation that's used to make rough commands, meaning don't do. And you can review this conjugation in lesson 41. Iwareru is the passive form of you, meaning to say. Iwareru means to be told. And you can review how to make passive conjugations in lesson 79. So to summarize, the conjugation zuni, which means without doing, can combine with three auxiliary verbs. Sumu, which means to be settled, iru, which means to exist for people and animals, and oku, which ordinarily means to put or place, but as an auxiliary verb means to do in advance. Now when these three combine with zuni in both the affirmative and negative, they form new conjugations. ZU NI SUMU means it's okay not to do. ZU NIWA SUMANAI, on the other hand, means must do. ZU NI IRU means to keep on not doing. And ZU NIWA IRARENAI means can't help but do. ZU NI OKU means to not do for now. ZU NIWA OKANAI means will do anyway. So that ends our lesson on zuni. In the next video, we will learn about the pseudo-noun particle mono. Otsukaresama deshita. Thanks for watching. If you're serious about becoming fluent in Japanese, it's important to practice daily, learn grammar, and build up vocabulary. My whole course is designed to give you a strong basic foundation in the Japanese language that you can build solidly upon. So please click like, share, or subscribe and watch the next video in the series. Nihongo no benkyou ni ganbatte kudasai. じゃあまたね。